Okay, so in a few hours is Lag BaOmer, Thursday night and Friday in Eretz Yisrael. So already, people are already there at the Tzion. I already saw pictures. Because it's Erev Shabbos, so many people are starting early to celebrate. So there are people who are already there. And I want to just give you a heads up, if you're in Eretz Yisrael, or if you're in Chutz La'aretz, what's a very good way a good way to spend the day. It's a very powerful day, Lag BaOmer, the 18th Chai, the 18th day of Iyar, and the 33rd day of the Omer. That's why we're learning chapter 33 in Tehillim. The pasuk in Tehillim, in not chapter 33, but in chapter 119, Kuf Yutes, says, Gal Einai ve'abita niflaot mitzoratecha. Gal Einai means uncover my eyes, open up my eyes. Gal Einai, open my eyes, ve'abita, so I can see niflaot mitzoratecha, the wonders, the awesomeness of your Torah. So we're just going to do a few minutes about Lag BaOmer because I know I have Chevron from the last year we just had a Lag BaOmer shir a minute ago. So Lag BaOmer is a day that the redemption could begin. Just that's it, cutting to the chase. On Lag BaOmer, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai passed out of this world and went into the next world. On the day of his passing, and there are many legends about how he passed and when he passed and how he extended the day. He didn't want the day to be over because he knew he had to leave on the 18th of Iyar, but he had a lot more to say. So, Aleida Kala is this lady in I have a girl who's now giving birth. So Be'ezrat Hashem for her also, the Shena, she knows who she is. Also, okay, and also for Shem for Rochel Bas Babielka, my cousin. So, Rabbi Shimon, on the day that he passed, he began to teach very deep secrets of Torah, and he told his students like the following. He was like Moshe Rabbeinu. On Moshe Rabbeinu, the day that Moshe Rabbeinu passed, Hashem said, "Okay, let's go. Come up to the mountain." You know, there was nothing wrong with him. He wasn't sick. He wasn't weak. He wasn't. He was totally functional, completely as a 20-year-old. But Hashem said, "You've done. You've maximized every inch of your neshama, of your soul. You've done everything that your soul could accomplish in this world. So now it's time for you to work in the next world, however, whatever that means." Rabbi Shimon, the same thing. The day that he passed, he wasn't. He was teaching till the last minute when they called him. It's like when the class is over, you know, and they ring a bell. And they say, okay, class is done, you know, and you have to leave the room and go to the next. So that's what Rabbi Shimon, he stayed and he taught Torah till the last minute. And he told his students on the day that he passed, he said, every day, the anniversary of my leaving this world, celebrate. Joanne, you have to mute people. Celebrate. Celebrate by lighting candles, by lighting fires, by singing and dancing. Yes, whatever Naomi just said, yes, the merit of her father. Celebrate by bringing light into the world. That's why we make big bonfires. You know that in Meron, there are certain areas, and I'm sure you have them wherever you are. Joanne, I think your mom has. Thanks. So, wherever in Meron and all over the world, they're going to be lighting bonfires with oil, right? They pour olive oil on top and then they light it with, I don't know if you know the procedure, how they do it, but olive oil is a reminiscent of Hanukkah, reminiscent of Chachma, reminiscent of the Beis HaMikdash, where we had oil on all of the offerings. So Rabbi Shimon said, light up the world, make light, because when my neshama every year, the anniversary of the person's birthday in the next world, that's what the yahrzeit is. The yahrzeit, the day that they pass in this world is their anniversary in the birth of their birthday in the next world. So Rabbi Shimon said, every year the neshama goes higher and closer to God. Every year my neshama was created to advocate for the Jewish people. Rabbi Shimon said that. Moshe Rabbeinu said his neshama was created to bring down the Torah for the Jewish people. Rabbi Shimon said his neshama was created to advocate for the Jewish people, to bring us Mashiach. That's it. That's what he came to this world to do. And he came to this world to reveal the ideas that will help us to be able to get through the Mashiach process with the least amount of suffering. And so, I heard a very nice mashal yesterday from Rav Pinchas Winston. He said that let's say a person, when they're very young, they learn how to eat correctly, meaning they learn what's healthy, what's not healthy, okay? So if they eat well and healthy and clean and with awareness from a young age, then they don't have stomach problems when they get older. They don't have cholesterol problems when they get older. They don't have any problems when they get older. But the idea is to understand how the mechanism of the digestion works, how the mechanism of the enzymes work, how the body works. The more you understand how the body works, the more you know how to live in a healthy way. Judith, you have to mute yourself. So too, the more you understand how this world works and how all of the effects of the meat what we do, the effect of our actions. Judith has to be muted. The effect of our actions, the more we understand that, the more we can act correctly. And that's really what Kabbalah is. That's really what Rebbe Shimon was teaching. Rebbe Shimon was teaching the interaction of all the different forces in the world and how they create, how Hashem pours his life force and his will into the different spherotes and the alignment of them and how that creates every minute of the day. So the more you learn, the more you understand. The more you understand, the more your behavior is proper, etc. So Rabbi Shimon said today's the day, tonight, tomorrow, major day of trying to ask Hashem to uncover your eyes, each person on the level that they're at, wherever you're at now in your Jewish education. Hashem should reveal to you a higher level, a deeper level. That's one. So the whole day, for women, every day that's a special holiday has a special tefillah, a special davening. By the way, the men, what do the men do on Lag BaOmer in Meron? They just dance. They sing, they dance. That's how the women sit and say Tehillim. I don't know if you know this, if you've ever been to Meron on Lag BaOmer. I was privileged, Baruch Hashem, Mechasei Hashem Yisborach, many times to be in Meron on Lag BaOmer. And what happens is there are huge platforms set up of bleachers, and women, hundreds and thousands of women are sitting all over in the mountains there, in the women's section of the mountains, just davening. And the men are in the courtyard in the bottom, and there's a huge courtyard, and they're dancing and singing and jumping and hugging each other, and I'm sure they're also davening. But the women are sitting with Tehillim and davening. They're sitting in. So for a woman, every special day is about davening, about praying, and about a specific thing to pray for. So let me just give you a heads up on what is good to pray for on Lag BaOmer. Number one, as I just said, you want to pray to see clearly. Gal Einai. You want to see your life clearly. You're already tired of confusion. You're already tired of not knowing. You're tired of the blur. You want to know, what am I supposed to be here for? What am I supposed to be doing here? How can I focus my energies? That's one thing. Number two, you want to daven that you should be able to learn Torah. Every woman has to learn Torah and to be inspired by Torah. Gal Einai, let's see the gorgeousness of the Torah, the wonder of the Torah. The truth is that you can see the Torah and you can see Hashem in every aspect of the universe. It's not just learning Torah. You could be a doctor and you could see Hashem in the body. You could be an architect and you can see Hashem in mathematics. You can be a physicist and you can see Hashem in physics. It's about focusing on God. That's the second tefillah. The third tefillah specifically for women is the following. You know the story that Rabbi Shimon was with his son in the cave for 13 years, 12 years and then another year. Rabbi Shimon and his son. And they were visited by big tzaddikim. Eliyahu Navi came to visit them. The prophets came to visit them. How that worked, I don't know. He'll tell us when he comes back. But the bottom line is, it was Rabbi Shimon and his son Rabbi Elazar, and they're buried next to each other. In Meron, in the Tzion, they're buried one next to the other, right next to each other. So there's an inyan of parents davening for children on Lag Bomer. Rabbi Shimon and his son, Beno, Rabbi Elazar. Daven for your children. If you don't have children yet, daven to have children. If you have children, daven for them. If you have grandchildren, daven for them. Daven that they should be healthy and protected and well. I know I said this, I'm going to say it all the whole Lag Bomer. They should be protected and healthy they should be protected and healthy spiritually, physically, emotionally, psychologically, educationally. Like Miriam was saying that she got some missionary material and she's right away has to alert the rabbis to get rid of it, make sure kids don't have it. Yeah, I'm sure you heard the story that we had here in this neighborhood in Eretz Yisrael, in Yerushalayim HaKodesh. A family, crazy story. A family, they look Haredi. Okay, if you look at them carefully, you see that the husband was not Haredi. You could see right away on the face. But they posed as from Jews. He grew himself a beard, he grew himself some payas. Anybody can grow a beard, payas. And the kids are talking to, the kids are in yeshivas and Beis Yaakovs, and they're talking to their friends about Yashkurim, Yimach Shema. So what? You have to be careful. The children have to be protected. They're children, they're so innocent. We have to beg Hashem on Lag Bomer about the children. And if you know people who do not get children, so daven for them. And it's not just your children and not just your grandchildren. Also, please, whoever's in charge, mute it's also the, whoever you're mashpia to, whether it's your friends, whoever you're giving over Torah to, whoever you're trying to be an influence towards, your students, your co-workers, your friends, your extended family, everybody. Daven for them on Lag Bomer that they should be protected on every level. Also, the next thing you want to daven for is Mashiach. Actually, really the first thing you want to daven for is Mashiach. Because once Mashiach comes, it's all over. And you should know that the tzaddikim say that Rabbi Shimon, I told you before, we learned before that Rabbi Shimon said his whole thing is to bring Mashiach, to bring the Geula to the world in a sweet way. So just daven. Tonight could be a major, I hope, I mamish hope that tonight could be a major revelation of the upcoming, that there's of the upcoming redemption. And once, we're in a, as I always say, we're in the spin cycle of a washing machine. I don't know if British washing machines work the same as ours, but when you're in the spin cycle, you're at the end of the cycle, the machine's going. You can't stop it. It's just going, and it's going to go till the end. That's how we're in right now in Jewish history and world history. We're at the end, and it's going until the final gong, until it's all over. So you're davening for the Geula. You know that someone said, I heard actually from two different sources, that tonight and tomorrow in Meron is going to be the largest gathering of humans in the world since this whole COVID catastrophe challenge began. The largest gathering of people in the world. That's what I heard. Because in the entire span of the whole Lag Bomer, and especially tonight, tomorrow's Erev Shabbos, most people are going to come tonight, they're expecting 1 million people. That means 1 out of every 6 Jews in Israel is going to be in Lag Bomer. At some point, they're going to be in Meron. Meron's a small, sleepy town. It's such a cute little town. You can't imagine it being overrun, but every year, it's a miracle that the small encompasses the many. It's a teaching in Rabbi Nachman. That's Meron, that's Rabbi Shimon. One person can carry on their shoulders 100 million people, 1 billion people, 6-7 billion people. That's one person, that's Rabbi Shimon. So it's a big zuchus tonight to daven. And so if you're going to be in Chutz La'aretz or not going to be in wherever you're going to be, you light yourself a candle. Make yourself a candle, light yourself a candle, preferably oil. You put a little bit of olive oil in. If you have a regular yahrzeit candle, pour a little bit of olive oil in. It's good for the soul. They like that. And saying the zchus or b'shem bar Yochai. And then just pray your heart out. Another thing that I learned last year that I love, and I keep saying it, and I'll say it again. By the way, if anybody's going to be in the area, if anybody wants to go to a hadlaka, a very special hadlaka, and they don't want to go to Meron, there's going to be a very big one tonight, a very powerful one in Beit Shemesh by the Tzion of Shimshon HaGibor. You can text me afterwards the details if you want. So the Gemara tells us at least three times in Shas, Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai says the following. He says it's better for a person, noach lo la'adam, it's preferable for a person that he should throw himself the kivshana ash into fire. He shouldn't, or she shouldn't embarrass another person in public. Again, Rabbi Shimon said at least 3 places in Shas, better to jump into the fire than to hurt or to embarrass another Jew. So the fires remind us about that. When we see fire, the fire of Rabbi Shimon is to remind us about his saying. His saying is, rather jump into the fire. Now, no one's going to jump into the fire. We don't want to do things like that, but it means, remember, daven, that our ben adam l'chavero, that our interactions, people to people, should be on the highest level of respecting one to the other. Especially now, I always joke that here in Israel, whenever Mashiach is about to come, the government calls elections. Why? Because elections here in Israel makes people fight and argue and bicker. There's a lot of arguing. You know, everybody here in Israel is opinionated because we're all Jews. And everybody's very political. Everybody's very, opinionated politically also. And so people fight. And so whenever there's an election, I say, it's such a geula dika time. It's so redemptive that they have to make an election to make us fight. Now we see the whole world, there's so much fighting going on, so much infighting. We have to be so careful not to bicker and not to make separations between Jews, even Jews who don't agree with us. It's a major, major challenge now because everyone's very opinionated about a lot of things in the planet. And you have to just not hate another Jew. No hating. I'm not talking about a criminal Jew. And even that, who knows who's really a criminal, but we can't hate each other. Stop. We have to treat each other with respect, even if we're different opinions. That's what we daven for on a Lag BaOmer, that we shouldn't have to jump into fire. Rather, we should remember that when we see the fire, remember, and hurting somebody, insulting somebody, embarrassing somebody is burns. It's not good. So when you see the fire, daven to Hashem, please Hashem. It just takes a split second. Please Hashem, let me be nice to everybody. Please Hashem, make sure that you remind me when I'm about to say something hurtful. Stop. Remember the fire. Now, also, if you light fire on Rabbi, if you're lighting fire by the candle by Rabbi Shimon, so stare into it like you're staring into the fire of the Hanukkah candles, because it purifies our eyes. Our eyes need major purification because we're on screens all day. First of all, we're on screens. It's not healthy for us. Hashem should protect us. But also, you're on the screen, you're on the phone, you're on the iPhone, the iPad, whatever, the computer. Sometimes we look at things that we're not supposed to look at. We're not only looking at shiurim all day long. So when you look at the fire of Rabbi Shimon, whether it's a fire in your house that you're making a little yahrzeit candle, whether you go to shul in the shul parking lot, they're having a bonfire, wherever it is, stare into it and say, please Hashem, in the merit of Rabbi Shimon, whose eyes were pure, purify my eyes. And your eyes are, of course, connected straight to your brain. Purify my entire sensory, my eyes, my ears, my brain, my thoughts, my everything, and not just me, but my family, everybody, my husband, my parents, my kids, my grandchildren, everybody connected to me, and all Jews. So there's no end of tefillos to daven on Lag BaOmer. It's really a very powerful day. And you see, Hashem made it also a little bit challenging in that it's Erev Shabbos. We're all busy Erev Shabbos, right? Who doesn't cook Thursday night, Friday? We're busy. Yeah, I already cooked yesterday because I know myself. We don't want to get too distracted. We want to make covered Shabbos. We're not taking away a drop from Shabbos. So we have to now double up our energies on Thursday night, Friday to incorporate not just Shabbos, covered Shabbos Kodesh, Lag BaOmer also. Okay, anything else I want to tell you about Lag BaOmer? Begin the day by saying Bizchus Shimon Bar Yochai. That's how you begin the day. You can even say it now because Erev Lag BaOmer is the same as Lag BaOmer. Today is the 32nd day of the Omer, Leiv today. So say right now, I just said it for you. You can say Amen. Bizchus Shimon Bar Yochai. Everything I do, think, want, feel, daven about should be in this chus of Shimon Bar Yochai. It should piggyback on his merit, and he accepts that. You know how it is. you know how it is. You see, I have a friend, I'm petite, I'm short. I don't know how to say the numbers in meters. I think 5 feet, half an inch, maybe an inch. And so I have a friend who's shorter than me. She's more petite than me. She's shorter than me. And she has 13 children, can I know her? And she's skinnier than me. I'm petite. She's skinnier than me, shorter than me. She has 13 kids and she has about already 20 grandchildren. And she's tiny. So you look at her, you say, how? And every Shabbos, they all come to her. She has a huge, here in Eretz Yisrael, she has a huge house. And every Shabbos, a few of them come with all of their, Chagadia. So you look at her, you say, like, how in the world do you do that? Her husband's a Rosh Hashiva. She cooks for the boys. She cooks for the family. She's like nonstop. And she has her mascara nice and on, and she has her wig on. She wears a sheitel. She wears a wig in the kitchen, like crazy things like that. How do you do that? You know what? Even if a woman is petite, she has big shoulders. What do I mean by big shoulders? She can support a lot. There's a lot, you're given a lot, you can support a lot. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was given a huge soul, and he can support us all in terms of his neshama. So maximize the day. Please, Hashem, help us do the day the best that we can. Whatever we do should be sufficient. Nobody should be sad. Everybody should be smiling on Lag BaOmer and happy. Put on music, blast the music. I can't wait to hear the music already. We're all parched for music. We don't realize every year Lag BaOmer, when Lag BaOmer starts, and I start to hear the music, I don't realize how thirsty I was for music. Just like, when you drink something, let's say after Yom Kippur, after you've been out of your body for 26 hours and you finally go in and you drink something, you don't realize how parched you've been. So listen to the music, dance and sing. Also, happy, don't minimize it.